For more than a decade, I climbed the corporate ladder in finance, and by my early 30s, I was comfortably earning over $120,000 a year. I lived in a sleek, high-rise apartment downtown with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city lights. My schedule was always full. Back-to-back meetings, conference calls across time zones, networking happy hours, weekend seminars on productivity. To the outside world, I had achieved the American dream, the award-winning resume, the enviable salary, the corner office with my name on the door. But behind the polished veneer, I felt increasingly hollow. Mornings began with the same nervous knot in my stomach. Another day of relentless presentations, financial forecasts, and performance reviews. My evenings were spent checking emails until well past midnight, often falling asleep at my desk only to jolt awake with a notification. Despite the well-furnished living space and designer wardrobe, I had lost touch with the person I once was. The curious, creative kid who loved learning for its own sake. I found myself asking, is this really what I want? Yet leaving meant giving up the security and status I had worked so hard to build. The decision gnawed at me for months, until one gray afternoon, I stood in my apartment, wallet in hand, and realized I was more afraid of spending the next 20 years feeling empty than of walking away from it all. In that moment, I made a choice that shocked everyone around me. I resigned from my six-figure position and enrolled in a teacher training program. I swapped financial reports for lesson plans and the buzz of Wall Street for the laughter of teenagers in a classroom. It was the scariest and most liberating risk I had ever taken. Before I made any dramatic, life-altering decisions, my days felt like a well-rehearsed play, perfectly executed but utterly devoid of meaning. I woke up at 6 a.m. to the soft chime of my alarm, rolled out of my sleek downtown apartment, and headed straight for my black Audi parked in the underground garage. My wardrobe of crisp dress shirts and tailored suits hung in a flawless row in the walk-in closet. Each morning, I'd don the outfit that best conveyed success before slipping out the door with a to-go latte in hand. By 8 a.m., I was seated at my corner office, floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the city skyline, ready for the first of what felt like 50 Zoom meetings. I toggled between screens, tracking quarterly earnings, adjusting financial forecasts, and fielding Slack messages from colleagues on the East Coast and Europe. The hours blurred together, a flurry of PowerPoint slides, rapid-fire emails, and back-to-back conference calls. Every once in a while, I'd pause to admire the framed accolades on my wall. Top performer of the year, rising star in finance, reminders that, on paper, my life was exactly what success should look like. Lunchtime was no reprieve. I'd heat up a gourmet meal from the high-end deli downstairs, eat at my desk, and immediately dive back into work. When the clock finally struck 6 p.m., I packed up my laptop only to prop it open again on the train ride home, reviewing the next day's agenda under the harsh glow of the subway lights. Dinner was often a solo affair, a meticulously prepared meal delivered by a meal prep service, eaten in front of my laptop while I responded to late-night emails. More than anything, I remember one evening in particular. I had just closed a deal that would net me a substantial bonus, enough to justify another round of congratulatory pats on the back. Yet as I stood before the mirror brushing my teeth, I found myself staring blankly at my reflection. The man looking back was flawless on the outside, but inside, I felt as though I'd been replaced by a corporate automaton. In that moment, the question echoed through my mind. If you keep living like this for another 10-20 years, will you even recognize yourself? The silence that followed was louder than any boardroom applause and far more unsettling. That afternoon still plays on repeat in my mind. I'd agreed to attend an alumni mixer at my old high school more out of obligation than curiosity. Walking through those hallways, so familiar yet strangely distant, I felt the weight of all the choices I'd made since graduation. Then I saw him, Mr. Bennett, my former economics teacher, standing by the bleachers with a cup of coffee in hand. He looked up from his notes, studied my tailored suit and polished shoes, and asked the question that cracked my armor. You used to light up talking about supply and demand. What happened to that spark? His words felt like a mirror shattering on the gym floor. I realized I couldn't remember the last time I'd felt genuine excitement about my work. I'd spent years buried in spreadsheets and forecasts, chasing bonuses and promotions, yet every achievement left me emptier than before. That evening, I drove home through a city glowing with ambition, corporate logos lit up on every corner, but inside my car, silence ruled. I turned my steering wheel toward the riverfront, rolled down the window, and let the cool breeze blow away the midtown haze, clouding my thoughts. The question echoed again: what would make you feel alive? Sleep eluded me that night. My mind raced through every milestone I'd hit: the fancy apartment, the stock options, the business class flights. None of it seemed to answer the deeper question of why I was doing it. By dawn, exhaustion gave way to clarity. I knew I had to choose purpose over paycheck. Within a week, I submitted my resignation. I traded in my city view for textbooks and the high-stakes world of mergers for lesson plans and classroom discussions. Friends and colleagues were stunned. "You're walking away from six figures?" they asked. I didn't have a ready answer, only a profound certainty that I couldn't let another year lapse without following the curiosity and compassion that first drew me to teaching. Enrolling in a teacher preparation program felt like coming home. I found myself poring over pedagogy texts and student psychology studies with the same hunger I once reserved for market analytics. For the first time in over a decade, I woke up excited to learn and eager to share that knowledge with others. That pivot, terrifying as it was, transformed my work from a hollow routine into a calling that sustains me every single day. Life after the leap was nothing like my old routine, and in the best way possible. I traded paychecks for purpose and found a daily rhythm that plugged me back into the things that really matter. Mornings now begin with genuine anticipation. My alarm goes off at 5:45 a.m., but instead of dreading the day, I'm excited to refine the lesson I'll share. I gather my worn copy of Teaching High School Economics, right, and review student questions from last night's discussion board. By 7, I'm in the staff lounge, swapping ideas with fellow teachers over strong coffee and warm greetings. There's a camaraderie here I never experienced in finance. No competition for bonuses, just a shared commitment to make a difference. My classroom is humble. Scuffed desks, colorful student posters, and a chalkboard scribbled with supply and demand curves. At precisely 8:15, the door opens and my students stream in. They're a diverse group, some bright-eyed, others carrying the weight of home life struggles, but they're all there to learn. When I pose a question about market equilibrium, the room buzzes with curiosity. Seeing a shy student muster the courage to raise her hand and share her perspective is more rewarding than any corporate milestone I once chased. Lunchtime has also shifted in tone. Instead of hurriedly eating a meal prep salad at my desk, I join a small cohort of teachers in the faculty room. We share stories about classroom wins, like the time a student told me my explanation finally clicked, and commiserate about challenges, like budget cuts or swelling class sizes. These conversations aren't about outperforming one another, they're about lifting each other up. Evenings no longer blur into an endless stream of emails. After school, I volunteer for a tutoring session, staying late if a student needs extra help. When I arrive home, it's to a simple home-cooked meal shared with my partner, not a solo dinner in front of a laptop. I often fall asleep early, content in the knowledge that I spent my day igniting minds, not crunching numbers. I may have given up the six-figure salary, but I gained something far richer. Now I measure success not by dollars earned, but by lives touched. And each day as a teacher reminds me why I walked away from it all. Not everyone needs to quit their high-paying job to discover true fulfillment. But if you've ever found yourself questioning the value of your achievements, wondering if the corner office, the hefty paycheck, or the title on your business card really reflects who you are, then it's time to pause and reflect. Success isn't a one-size-fits-all trophy. It's a deeply personal journey defined by the moments that make you feel alive. Imagine waking up each morning eager to pour your energy into something that matters, not just for your bank account, but for your spirit. What would it look like to spend your day fostering curiosity, guiding young minds, or building connections that outlast any quarterly report? For me, swapping financial forecasts for lesson plans transformed work from a chore into a calling. It showed me that purpose isn't found in external validation, but in the simple acts of sharing knowledge, inspiring others, and witnessing that spark of understanding when a student grasps a new concept. You don't have to abandon stability overnight to find meaning. Start small. Volunteer for a cause you care about, mentor someone in your community, or carve out time each week to pursue a passion long neglected. These steps won't erase your responsibilities, but they will rekindle a sense of purpose that can infuse your daily routine with intention. Over time, those tiny shifts, choosing conversation over conference calls, curiosity over complacency, can lead to profound transformation. So here's my challenge to you. Ask yourself, what would I do differently if I measured success not by numbers on a paycheck, but by moments of connection, growth, and joy? Write down your answer. Share it with someone you trust, and then take one deliberate step in that direction, no matter how small. I'd love to hear your experiences. Have you ever felt trapped by the image of success you thought you needed to achieve? What's one change you're willing to try this week to live more aligned with your values? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's support each other on this journey toward purpose over profit. Because at the end of the day, the richest life isn't defined by what you own, but by what you give and who you become.